The voice of sharing. Durian ASEAN.
Hi, this is Arlene and you are listening to Perianen ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. Today we have a guest. His name is Maran and he is actually a founder of Citizens Journalism Malaysia or CJ.MY. And today he's going to share with us about the topic related to citizen journalism and about reporting news from the grassroots. So before we start our conversation today, I would like you, Maran, to just give us a brief introduction to your NGO, which is CJ.MY, and also your background.
Hi. Okay, my name is Maran, and I've been a journalist for about past 10 years, and I was actually attached to Malaysia Kini prior to before we started the project called Citizen Journalist. And in 2008, we started this project. Basically, it's a project that we incubated in Malaysia Kini, where we received grants to actually, to create a project where we had supposed to train normal citizens to report news. So ever since then, I've been involved in the project until last year, where after I left Malaysia Kini, and since then I'm actually have been running this program. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And why citizen journalism? What's the significance of having ordinary citizen to be trained as a media professional, which is a citizen journalist?
Okay, one of the reasons why we need it is not actually we need citizen journalism. The problem is the media landscape today, where if you know, well, probably about 20, 30 years ago, when internet is not around, the communication between media and its audience are mainly one way, where it is people only read.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually what happened was when people started using internet,
mm-hmm.
and people can actually respond, all right? So what happened eventually was people started commenting and coming up with their own news articles or even commentary. So when this started becoming popular, people knew the power that they have in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
And they know how they can actually reach more audience, and they can actually create a huge following. Now, the problem is there's when what they call citizens actually participate in what they call information gathering and information dissemination. You need to have certain amount of what they call ethical consideration, so because you're actually sharing information now, and people actually are dependent on you for information.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas those days, it is only what they call media outlets who are responsible for that.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought when there is more citizens participating in this, in this what they call information dissemination, and when citizens actually started going around and getting information, then publishing a story on internet, and they have people who's coming up and reading their stories. So we thought, we need to teach these people
mm-hmm.
how to do it ethically.
When
Sorry?
Sorry, when did you started this citizen journalist training and also the whole initiative itself?
Basically, we started this project right after 2008. It is actually after, I think, a couple of months after the general election. Now, in 2008, Malaysia saw, some kind of awakening among people, and I would attribute this whole awakening because access to information. More and more people, started becoming more aware of things that's happening around them, mainly because there is media outlets operating in an outlet called, on the internet. So most of the information are not censored, and people are actually gaining access to much more credible information. So, and what was happening was people started commenting or creating a commentary based on that. So once they read a story on internet or any particular media outlets from the internet, and probably these people are going on Facebook and started, posting this particular story and commenting on the story, and so when this started happening, you actually have access to much more credible information. So, and we felt that these people should do it more ethically. So we thought, because I think in 2008, around 2006 to 2008, blogging was really, really popular in Malaysia. We had a lot of influential bloggers around, and we thought, now we need to. Bloggers are not citizen journalists, We felt that there are some bloggers who actually takes the initiative to write stories or do commentary in much more ethical way by actually having a much more well-rounded report, But sadly, most of the bloggers do not do that, But probably because they felt that they would want to be just like a blogger, So we thought we want to differentiate these people, which we're gonna call a citizen journalist, by training them. So if you see, all of our citizen journalists all this while, since 2008, they undergo training, extensive training, where they were taught journalism, ethics, and how to write, and stuff like that.
What are other key activities or knowledge that is involved in terms of being a real journalist, a journalist that is a profession rather than just another blogger or another person who exposed something from somewhere?
I think the most important thing, when you are involved, just say not as a journalist per se, but when you take up that role, because it is very easy for you to do that, because of the internet now. So, most important thing, you need to have a certain amount of self-control, and you need to know whatever information that you put out there. You need to understand that the information that you put out there has a repercussion. People gonna read it, or people gonna watch it, and people gonna react to it. All right. So, and that fact alone makes it more, more important that you need to be more ethical and more responsible. I'm not talking about censorship here. It is not about censoring oneself. It's about being more responsible. So if you put a story A, you know how people are going to react, and so you need to take ownership of the story. You need to be responsible, So because you know the repercussion, if that is what you want, you think it is worthwhile, then by all means you should put it out, But make sure you get the reaction from the involved parties. Make sure the report is, well-rounded.
So as a citizen journalist, do you are they supposed to just like publish it right away, or these I mean those who are being trained by under you would if they found any news that they think is important to be published, should they publish it right away, or should they have to go through certain process to ensure that there's some form of credibility and responsibility towards the piece of news?
Okay, so all the citizen journalists that we have trained so far, they will publish stories, and what happens is that it goes through the editorial process, So we actually will, sometimes we actually call them up and tell them, probably you should take this, angle to report the story or make it more interesting in this way. But at the end of the day, the decision to publish it or not to publish it, it is in the hands of the editor. And the citizen journalist has no, influence or whatsoever, whether their story goes public or not, But so if the story wants to be, or if we felt that the story is worthwhile and we think would be beneficial for the people, then the editor makes a decision. It has nothing to do with But if there are a lot of stories that we have killed. We felt that it is very one-sided.
Mm-hmm.
We felt that it's very unfair, and and we have killed that stories. So and when we say that when we have rejected these stories, the story does not go on our platform.
Mm-hmm. They can publish it under their Facebook or other means or platform, is it?
Yeah. If they feel it is right, of course, we advise them why the story is not well-rounded and, it is not good to publish this particular story. But as I said just now, if you think what you're doing is right, then by all means, take ownership, be responsible and publish it.
Mm-hmm.
Because whatever that's going to come out of the story, whatever reaction, you better be prepared to face it.
Mm-hmm. And another thing is about the media industry in Malaysia. As much as we want to promote citizen journalism among the ordinary folks, but what about the media industry? Do they feel that, having an extra number of people doing the reporting, it would sort of like jeopardize their credibility as well, because journalists are trained professionally. They are not trained like within just a couple of weeks, and they have a certain sort of professionalism that they want to maintain. But what's your view on that?
All right. One fact is that the citizen journalists that wherever they are, in anywhere or any part of the world, they are not going to take over the role of a journalist, In whatever media setup a particular journalist is functioning, they will be there playing their role. And I would say, it's going to take very long for a citizen journalist to take over their role. But the undeniable fact here is that regardless of whether we train them or we do not train them, or we give extensive training on journalism for this particular citizen, he's going to do what he's going to do. The problem is because there is platform already existing for him to do what he wants to do. All right. So we just thought when he's going to do whatever he's going to do, might as well we go out there and make him do it more responsibly. Right. Right. So journalists going to be there. They will be there doing what they're doing. Okay. Let me give you an example. All right. When the incident MH370 happened, all right, there were so many rumors, flying around, right? And people were reporting on. I would say reporting, yeah. People were reporting all kind of stuff on Facebook. They were posting videos from there and YouTube, and Facebook became a huge channel of like there is millions of news outlets Like every feed is like a news outlet, all right? But the fact was, it is not credible. People still went back. They still went back to the real media outlet, the alternative media or the mainstream media, to go and get much more credible news, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to happen throughout until more citizen journalists becoming more responsible, and until that happens, until people are more controlled and more aware of the information that they are disseminating, the role of journalists will still be there, and it can never be taken over by anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Citizen journalists would just probably complement, the whole media industry.
I see. And for you, personally, your background is from journalism background, I suppose.
I'm not a trained journalist. I was trained when I wanted to become a journalist, and I was trained by editors, and so basically, I mean, end of the day, journalism is a skill, right? And it can be trained.
But you have been working in the media in the media industry for quite some time, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah, and from your understanding of our media industry, what do you think that the media needs to change, or needs to improve themselves? Because I think nowadays there's a huge, I would say, I mean, the media industry Malaysia is getting bigger to the extent that there's some sort of like mushrooming of online medias catering to Malaysians on different news, and some of them can be quite emotional or quite I would say they have a certain direction that they want to follow. But for you personally, what do you think should be the way forward for the media industry in this country to ensure that there's some sort of like neutrality and credibility that we can preserve?
Well, I think for a start, when you say it's mushrooming, that means the media industry is vibrant, right? That means more and more people would want to participate and and provide a source of information to the people, right? I think the problem lies not within the media industry. I think the problem lies in the control that's exerted by the government or the system, right? I think in order for I think media industry probably if we just look at online, it will flourish mainly because people they would want an alternative view, or probably they think that the media online is not they can be more independent and stuff like that. I think there is not the problem is not among the journalists or even the media outlets. I think the problem is exerting control over a particular media, right? I think the same thing happened in Indonesia when during Suharto's time when the media is controlled and But I think one of the most vibrant media scene today in the world is in Indonesia, right? And I think we should strive towards that, where we need to get media to be more responsible and they have more control, and they know what they're talking and they're responsible. They're willing to know, and they actually take ownership of whatever stories that they put out, and they know the repercussion. I think Malaysia is much more, because of the race relations and everything, Malaysia is much more sensitive towards a particular story or So the media outlets should actually understand that if they put out this particular A story and people are going to react towards that, this is what's going to come out, because those days probably people are going to sit down and in a coffee shop and talk about the story, but today they do not need coffee shop to talk about it. They can just go on Facebook to say whatever they want to say, and their followers, like they might have few hundred, friends in their network, and they're going to comment as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's going to be louder. So, but the advent of all this technology is good, because people can participate. But when you know this is going to happen, so you need to be much more careful of things that you post out.
Mm-hmm.
Things that you publish.
Mm-hmm. So, I will like to ask you more questions, but we will take a short break. When we return, we will have more discussion and sharing related to citizen journalism.
Yeah, sure.
Voice of sharing. Durian ASEAN.
Hi, this is Arlene, and together with me is Maran from CJ.MY, which is an organization that promotes and also do training on citizen journalism. And to continue our discussion from just now is, I want to know more about I'm looking at your website now, CJ.MY, and it's quite interesting because you have so many different things going on and so many news as well, and you also have trainings. So for being a citizen journalist, they have to go through trainings, and when is the next one?
The next one is in August, and we have a training that will be happening in KL and also in JB. And we have trainings in all major cities, so like 2 trainings in a month. One will be either in KL or Johor or Kota Kinabalu or Penang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in the training itself, like how they can get selected and how can they register and participate?
They just have to go to the website. There's a registration form. They just have to fill it up, and once they've done that, once they've filled up the form, our staff will actually call them up and let them know where is the training and everything. And we also charge about 100 ringgit for each training, for news writing, and also for video news making.
Mm-hmm. And for these journalists, when they finally complete their trainings and all other activities that they needed to do, when they become like a full citizen journalist themselves, what is the impact that they can give to the whole media industry and also to our society as a whole, and also what are the benefits of being one?
Okay, end of the day, we see it from this point of view. We train them, and we actually provide them with a platform which can reach hundreds and a lot of people. And we don't actually ask them to or force them to write news, because this is done mostly on voluntary basis. So whenever you have time, you think this particular issue should be highlighted and it is not getting enough media attention, then those kind of stories actually can go on to on our platform.
Mm-hmm.
So stories that, ranging, mostly we cover community stories. We don't cover political stories, because we think a lot of community stories, it has not been ignored. It is more of like media outlets, they have this term called, the story is not so it's not sexy enough, it is not, attractive enough for the viewers. So those kind of stories mostly are like grassroots community stories, like this particular individual or this particular community deep down in, just say, Johor, it is not, being covered by media. So our citizen journalists actually go around and, report these kind of stories.
Can you give example of stories which you think are significant that they actually highlighted in the media? that the conventional media fail to sort of put a highlight on that?
One example that I can think of is when we trained citizen journalists from Sarawak. So we actually went deep inside the interior of Sarawak, and we actually trained the Penan community, to report news. I mean, it is very hard. They don't have access to electricity, to technology, and stuff like that. We actually equipped them with, a small portable camera, pocket cameras, and the stories that, I mean, these are kind of footages that people have never seen. Where one of the citizen journalists actually reported how a school-going kid goes to school in this interior, and we were so surprised to find out that they actually have to cross 3 rivers in order for them to get to a school.
Wow,
And
3 rivers.
Yeah, 3 rivers, and they don't have a bridge. So they basically walk through the river to get to the other side, and they do that 3 times in order for them to reach the school. So these kind of stories have never been out in our media outlet in Malaysia, all right? And it's very, in a way, it's interesting, and also it actually gives, an understanding to Malaysians, when we say people deep inside Sarawak is, deprived and, they do not have access to basic necessity. They can actually understand if they watch this video.
And all this, they can access it in the CJ.MY website, I suppose.
Yeah. Yes, they can access it in CJ.MY website, or they can go to our YouTube channel, Citizen Journalist MY. So you can find or watch all these videos there.
And you mentioned earlier off air that there's also a vibrant citizen journalist community in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
You want to elaborate on that?
Yes. Basically it's because of technology. People have empowered. People are being empowered to share news. So I have personally been involved in a lot of initiatives in Indonesia, in Thailand, in Cambodia, and where we actually went in and trained a lot of people on how to use this technology to disseminate information. For example, recently in Cambodia, access to internet is it is very low, especially among rural communities. So their brand of citizen journalism is a bit more different, where they use community radios. So they have radio stations. So all these citizen journalists from really, really rural places will call up the station, and they will just, read or probably they just do a commentary. So once the commentary comes in, then the editor actually finds out more information, and they actually pair up the story, with necessary information before it goes on air. So this particular the citizen journalism that's even in Thailand, it's the same. They use community radio. In Indonesia, they also use community radio, and they also use internet. So, but one thing for a fact that because of the technology that's available nowadays, it has actually empowered people, and people feel that the responsibility is upon them to highlight stories that they see around them, and they do not actually wait for a major media outlet to come down and wait for the story to be reported and for action to be taken. They feel that it is their responsibility to actually go out there and to highlight whatever stories that they feel that should be highlighted. So I think this type of progress is very good in any particular community, because it actually gives you a lot of check and balance among the society, and the society becomes much more. What I would say is that much more independent, and they are more empowered. I think that's what actually citizen journalism does compared to any other initiatives.
Interesting. And also another one question that I'm eager to ask is about Malaysia Kini as one of the founder of this citizen journalism, if I'm not mistaken, in the past. But I just want to know, maybe you can clarify to all of us, are you still like under Malaysia Kini in terms of providing the trainings and all other activities related to citizen journalism?
Okay. The Citizen Journalism Project is incubated in Malaysia Kini.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So it is basically, end of the day, it is Malaysia Kini's initiative in the beginning. Right. And so much so we managed to actually bridge the gap between the editorial unit in Malaysia Kini and the citizen journalism. So there are some stories when it's out of reach of Malaysia Kini, where they do not have any reporters in that particular location, but they can actually find a citizen journalist there who can help them to cover the stories. And eventually, I think because Malaysia Kini has invested in a lot of citizen journalists, they also felt that this particular setup should be independent of Malaysia Kini, where they should thrive on their own, where they should actually run the platform on their own, and they should actually participate and make sure it grows and reaches more people. So up to that point where until today, Michigan still gives us technology support and whatever support, not financially though, but any other
in-kind support, I would suppose.
Yeah, in kind, moral support or trainings, or if we need any, any advice in terms of editorial, we still go back to Malaysia Kini because they are ever there to help us, But when it comes to actually expanding this movement or expanding as a business entity, then it's up to us to actually, because I led the project. When I was there, I led the project, So when we have come out of Malaysia Kini and started functioning as an independent unit, so it is actually, it is myself and, a couple of other citizen journalists who has formed up an entity, a business entity. And, and we are just going around and our source of revenue is just from the training at this particular time.
But are you planning to sort of expand, since now you are independent from Malaysia Kini and you are on your own as CJ.MY? Are you thinking of expanding beyond just training?
Yeah, obviously, and but it'll take a bit, it'll take a bit more time for us to really expand and to become even bigger and to have more trainings and
and I have to highlight that you actually have a organizers conference and has been run since 3 years ago. In 2011.
No, it is from 2010 actually.
Oh, 2010. Oh, okay.
Last year was the 4th year.
Ah.
Where we held our conference in. It is not like a real conference. It is like a get-together where we have trainings and and we share stories and ideas and stuff like that. Last year was in Kota Kinabalu. This year will be in KL. I think it will be towards October or November.
And what is the takeout from the conference that you organized? What kind of interesting highlights that you discussed during the conference?
One of the most important thing is we bring in a lot of well-known journalists, activists, and organizations. They'll come and probably they'll have a slot where they actually teach or share ideas, and talk to our citizen journalists and how they can improve their reporting. What are stories that they can actually go out there and highlight and trainings about technology, this kind of. So it's basically centered around this kind of areas.
Mm-hmm. Do you reach out to other citizen journalism outside of Southeast Asia?
Yes. For example, last year we had I would say administrators for citizen journalism movement from all over Southeast Asia. We had people from Singapore. We had people from Indonesia. We had from Philippines, from Thailand, and people from Myanmar.
Mm.
We also had people from Nepal. So all these people have been working on citizen journalism in their respective countries.
Mm-hmm.
So they came in and they actually took back a lot of information which they can apply back in their own countries.
Mm-hmm. And in fact, I just Googled the Wikipedia on citizen journalists websites. Apparently, there's a huge movement all over the world, including countries that you won't normally associate it with free media. So I guess Malaysia is moving forward towards, liberalizing the concept of reporting and the idea of, providing information to the society.
Yes. Yeah. You see, it's very simple. It is. You can attribute this whole growth because of technology, and it has made it easier for people to communicate the ideas and the stories. And every country which has access to some sort of technology having their, they have their own brand of citizen journalism.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told you just now, the way, how Cambodia does it, So, and citizen journalism movement actually, it is very popular in the Middle East, like, in Syria or, even back then in Iran, where people actually shot events or whatever that incidents is happening in their country on their mobile phone, and they upload it to YouTube or they tweet it out, and and that has become a major source of information for the other, what they call major media outlets.
Mm-hmm. And in fact, a lot of revolution, for example, the Arab Spring, we have to thank the social media and citizen journalism in a way for providing, real-time information about what's happening on the ground.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of media actually has taken the initiative to embed citizen journalism into their own media outlet, So because so much so you can't avoid for not, for not engaging these particular citizen journalists, because they gotta go out and do whatever they want to do. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to you whether you want to, add value to your organization and to embed them into your, editorial calendar or whatsoever, and make use of it. Probably add some color to your media reporting. I think this is, for example, you can see it on Al Jazeera and CNN. They actually have segments which focus on their citizen journalist report, and that's exactly what Michigani has been doing. I think we have been doing this way before CNN or Al Jazeera has started it, So, and it's all for, end of the day, you see, they are there. They will be there. And it's up to you whether you want to tap into this another form of, stream of information.
Anyway, thank you very much for sharing with us on the topic related to citizen journalism, and we hope that you will be able to train more people there. And I personally I'm also definitely very interested on this particular area on journalism.
All right. Thank you, Arlene. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.